Okay, so let's unpack this. Today we're diving deep into um, a feeling, a state of being that I think almost everyone kind of recognizes.
Mm-hmm. But maybe doesn't quite understand fully.
Exactly. That really thick, dense silence. You probably know the feeling, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you're sitting somewhere in your car after, well, a tough conversation.
Or just parked, engine off. Or maybe even on the kitchen floor late at night.
Yeah, and everything's just stopped. You're not crying, not screaming, sort of paused.
In this really heavy, profound kind of stillness.
But that stillness, as you pointed out, it's deceptive, isn't it?
It feels like emptiness, like numbness maybe.
Right.
But the sources we looked at suggest it's actually an incredibly active state.
Right. So our mission today really is to dig into what the Gestalt approach calls the point of silence. That specific place where our awareness seems to freeze up and emotional contact gets cut off.
We want to understand what gets stuck there.
Yeah, and how we can move towards, real emotional integration, not just sweeping things under the rug and calling it healing.
And one of the first surprises, I think, is realizing when we often lose that ability to process things fully, it's usually not in the big dramatic moment itself.
No, the sources suggest it's often
Well,
quieter than that.
exactly. We lose that completion maybe for relationships or dreams, even parts of ourselves, in quiet, in distraction, in I'll deal with this later.
That procrastination of feeling. So, okay, if the silence isn't empty, what is it then? What's actually going on when we hit that point of silence?
It's density. That's the word that comes up, like fog maybe, pressed right against your chest. It's not an absence of feeling. It's described as the presence of too much feeling compressed.
Compressed, contained,
Yeah.
like trapped energy. That really shifts the perspective, doesn't it? It's not passive, it's actively held back.
Precisely. The terms used are presence frozen, awareness paused, and really key contact interrupted. It's like the system hit an internal emergency brake because whatever was happening just felt like too much to handle right then.
And this applies to more than just, say, the death of a loved one, right? The scope of loss here is much wider.
Oh, absolutely. These are often the losses that kind of fly under the radar, like the goodbye that you never actually got to speak out loud.
Or a connection, a friendship maybe, that just faded out without any real acknowledgement, no ceremony.
Exactly. Or even, and this one's powerful, a version of yourself you packed away like winter clothes.
Wow, because it didn't fit anymore or felt unsafe.
Right, and these are all losses that build up, often minimized, and they live in that thick silence.
Okay, so for anyone listening who's feeling that distance, that thickness right now, maybe it's in their shoulders or that hollow feeling behind the ribs, this leads us straight into how we actually work with this, doesn't it? And this is where it gets really interesting, practically speaking.
Yeah, because our default, our conditioning, is usually to tackle emotional pain with our thoughts. We try to analyze the story, figure out the narrative, logically fits the problem. That's just how we're mostly taught.
But the Gestalt way, it fundamentally challenges that starting point.
It does. It says, hang on, don't start with the analysis or the fiction. Start with phenomenology.
Which means,
Just noticing what is happening right here, right now, without judgment.
and the key tool for that noticing is the body.
Yes, the body is seen as the primary source of truth in this moment. Your real, felt truth doesn't live just in the story you tell in your head or write in a diary. It lives in your muscles, your posture, your breath. That's your organism speaking directly to you, unfiltered.
So connecting back, that fading relationship, that unspoken goodbye. When you tune into your body now, where does that feeling live?
Yeah.
Is it that heavy weight, the shoulders again, or maybe a tightness in the throat, like you swallowed something down?
A lump in the throat.
Mm-hmm.
Or that hollowness. These physical feelings aren't just random symptoms of stress. They're like a map.
Yeah.
A map of the unfinished business.
And to read that map, you have to step out of the shoulds.
Absolutely critical. You need a should-free zone. Because that inner critic always jumps in, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, I should be over this by now. I shouldn't feel this way. I should feel something.
And the Gestalt response is just beautifully simple. There's no should in presence, only is. Even if what is feels like total numbness or vast distance, that itself is valuable information. It needs to be met, not judged or pushed away.
Which brings us neatly to this idea of unfinished business. If it's not just an item on a mental checklist, what is it, and why does it get stuck like this?
Well, unfinished business isn't about failing to complete a task, like, finishing a report. It's an experience that hasn't been fully lived through. It hasn't been fully felt down to the cellular level, moved through your body, maybe expressed through your voice or actions.
So the energy that naturally gathered to meet that original experience, It just got stuck.
It had nowhere to go. It froze mid-cycle.
And in that frozen energy, we find this really core paradox of containment. Our system intelligently tried to protect us, right? By wrapping the pain in cotton, as the source puts it. That was survival.
Absolutely. A necessary adaptation at the time. But now the cotton feels suffocating. That distance we created for safety is turned into a kind of deep loneliness or disconnection.
And there's a huge cost to that protective numbing, isn't there?
A massive cost. The sources are really clear on this. Grief is not the opposite of joy. Numbness is. When you mute the sorrow to stay functional, to be efficient, maybe just to cope, you inevitably mute the entire emotional spectrum.
Right, you trade the potential for vibrant color, for intense connection, for a kind of dull safety.
You stop trembling at beauty, maybe. You stop really melting into deep connection with others because you've turned down the volume on the whole system's capacity for intense feeling.
So to feel deeply again, you actually have to risk feeling, well, everything, the pain included.
Because that unlived energy, it doesn't just evaporate. It lingers, it waits, it can kind of haunt the edges of your current life.
Yeah.
And that's the state of being stuck in an interrupted cycle.
Okay, let's break down that cycle, the cycle of experience. It's described as a sort of organic heartbeat of how we interact with the world, right? It's meant to flow.
Exactly. It's fundamentally biological, very natural. Something stirs inside you, a sensation.
Okay, step one, sensation.
Then you become aware of it. You notice it. That's awareness.
Step two.
Awareness. Then energy starts to gather, to mobilize, preparing for some kind of response. Mobilization.
3. Mobilization. Got it.
Then comes action, expressing something, moving towards or away from something.
4. Action.
Which leads to contact, actually interacting with the environment or the other person.
5. Contact.
Followed by satisfaction, a sense of completion.
6. Satisfaction.
And finally, withdrawal, resting, integrating the experience, letting go, ready for the next cycle.
7. Withdrawal. Okay, that sounds straightforward. So where does it go wrong? Where's the interruption?
The interruption happens when the experience feels too overwhelming, too threatening, or maybe just too inconvenient to complete. We unconsciously stop the cycle. We freeze the energy somewhere along the line.
Like maybe freezing at awareness, just refusing to even acknowledge how much something hurts.
Exactly. Or maybe you get to mobilization, the energy gathers, but you skip the action. You don't let it move into expression. You hold it back.
And that stuck, mobilized energy, that's what shows up in the body.
That's the physical tension we were talking about. It's literally the uncompleted action held in the body. The swallowed scream still lodged in the throat muscles. The unreleased sob held tight in the chest. Maybe even unexpressed rage clenched in the fists.
And this isn't seen as being broken or a pathology.
No, not at all. It's adaptation. It was intelligent at the time.
And around this stuck point, we build defenses, survival strategies.
Right, the fortress around the wound, you could say. And these look like very common behaviors, things we all do.
Like what?
Oh, distraction is a big one. Just keeping busy, staying stimulated so you don't have to feel.
Or minimization.
Yeah.
Telling yourself, oh, it wasn't that big a deal, when actually it really was.
Spiritual bypassing, using spiritual ideas to avoid messy human emotions. Intellectualizing, talking about the feeling endlessly but never actually feeling it.
Turning it into an abstract concept.
Yeah. Or somatization, where the stuck energy manifests as chronic physical symptoms like headaches, fatigue, gut issues.
These are all strategies, though. Intelligent ones, initially.
Absolutely. They were honorable attempts to keep you functional, maybe even to survive.
No.
But the problem is they often outlive their usefulness.
And the shelter becomes a cage.
Precisely. An exhausting cage to maintain.
So,
yeah.
Okay, if that's the situation, what does this all point towards? How do we actually move forward from that stuck place?
Well, the first thing is, we need to stop fighting the defenses. Pushing against them just creates more tension, more resistance.
Right, that makes sense. So instead,
we gently, carefully turn towards the pain they're protecting.
And the Gestalt approach has a specific way of doing that, doesn't it? It's not about shaming the defense mechanism.
No, quite the opposite. It's about befriending it. Recognizing, as one source puts it, that every wall was once a shelter. You have to honor the part of you that built that wall for good reasons.
So you approach that inner fortress, that protective part, with a kind of reverence.
Yeah.
And ask it questions.
Yes. Pivotal questions, like, what are you protecting me from? And maybe, what are you afraid will happen if I finally let myself sob, or scream, Or just admit how much this loss, this thing, actually mattered to me.
And the answers don't come back like an email, I'm guessing?
No, not usually in neat, logical sentences. The answers come in the body. Maybe a shivers or a sudden wave of heat. Tears might start to well up without a clear thought attached. Or old memories might flash through your mind.
You're essentially shifting the system, moving carefully from rigid protection towards necessary vulnerability.
That's the goal. And the core insight here, the thing that actually facilitates the healing, is surprisingly simple.
Which is?
Awareness is curative. Just the act of bringing gentle, non-judgmental awareness to what's happening.
We can't heal what we refuse to meet.
Exactly. Healing isn't about fixing yourself like a broken machine. It's about making full contact with your experience exactly as it is. Even the difficult parts, even the silence.
And when you stop fighting it, when you stop labeling the silence or the numbness as a personal failure,
you stop leaking all that energy into resistance. The moment you can finally stop turning away and just turn towards it and say internally, okay, I'm here, I see you, that's when space starts to open up. That's the pivot, the turn towards aliveness.
So when we make that pivot, when we finally allow ourselves to feel the magnitude of the loss or sit with the thickness of that silence without fighting it, what happens then? What's the end game? Is it about finding closure?
Well, Gestalt doesn't really talk about closure in the way we usually mean it, like shutting a door on the past. It talks more about continuity and assimilation.
Assimilation, meaning
You don't just get over a significant loss or experience, you learn to grow around it, like a tree growing around a stone embedded in its trunk. The stone becomes part of the tree's structure.
so the experience transforms from being this jagged external wound
To becoming an integrated part of your internal landscape, part of your personal architecture, who you are now.
So instead of feeling like there's a piece missing that you have to find or forget, the relationship, the meaning, the lost part, it gets relocated.
That's a great way to put it. Relocated. From the external world, where maybe the contact was lost, into your internal world. It lives on in your values now, in the decisions you make, in how you show up in the world. It becomes an enduring source of depth, maybe even wisdom.
That feels very different from just being haunted by something, it sounds like. Transformation.
It is. It's about integration, not erasure.
Which leads us to a final thought, maybe a question for you, the listener, to sit with as we close out this deep dive.
Yeah, what if that silence you've experienced wasn't actually a failure? Or an ending? What if it was a threshold, a necessary pause?
A gathering of energy, maybe?
Perhaps. What if loss doesn't erase you, but actually reveals you? What if the pain is proof that something mattered deeply enough to leave such a significant crater?
That changes everything.
And maybe healing isn't a destination you finally arrive at. Maybe it's more like a rhythm, a constant process. Inhale, meet the pain, meet the silence gently. Exhale, release the resistance to it. Just that, again and again.
The silence didn't break you.
No. Maybe. Maybe it broke you open.